You, the dependable, trustworthy, and loyal puzzle solver who laughed, loved, and lived a full and meaningful life, left us behind to grieve. A jigsaw body too hard to put back together. Too sudden, too soon, and we are all shaken to the core of our soul that you didn't live to be 70. Oh, my love, the vows we took almost 42 years ago are now complete. For better, for worse. For richer, for poor. In sickness and in health. To love and to cherish until death us do part. At our wedding on a rainy October Saturday, my brother Dean and sister-in-law Marge sang the Beatles song, Things We Said Today. Someday when I'm lonely, wishing you weren't so far away, then I will remember things we said today. You say you'll be mine, girl, till the end of time. These days, such a kind girl are so hard to find. Someday when we're dreaming, deep in love, not a lot to say, then we will remember things we said today. So unbelievable, Susie, that you didn't recover from the stroke. You've covered so many times when your body attacked you these past 15 years. My love, I'm so lonely. And our dreams of walking the Florida beaches and the fairways of life together are gone. So many fun travel adventures, parties with friends in the back, epic movies with too much buttered popcorn, and especially family beach vacations gone. Laughing at my witty jokes, always being available. Always being available when our children needed your wisdom and organizational skills. Finding my wallet, keys, or phone when I lose them. Gone. She's gone. A lie. I'm just not going to learn how to face that. So here's my love story about this smart, beautiful, friendly, private, pioneering girl who looks so fine in her bib overalls or cut-off jeans. Our love began at Purdue University, Harrison Hall, girls' dorm, 7th floor. She arrived in the fall of '73 as a math major, which was, again, highly unusual in the '70s. Tested out of most of her freshman year and graduated in 3 years. We only knew each other through mutual friends. Although I did hear from Kim, I think she thought I was the a-hole from New York who thought way too much of himself. Wow. Anyone who knows us would agree that we were different in so many ways. Susie ultra-private, me way too public. Susie grounded, me anything goes. Susie soft, me loud. Susie trustworthy, dependable, loyal, honest. Me, well, never mind, you know. And for those astrologists out there, Susie, Pisces, me, Leo. One of the worst combinations according to the experts. But I do believe it was our mutual attraction to the beach that gave us the solace and recharge we needed to remember whose we were and why we were together. After all, the beach is the one place where the cool ocean water meets the hot sun and they coexist and balance each other. Our plan in 1986, after Susie retired, was to live out a strong faith, raise a loving family, and have lots of fun friends. Check, check, check. Anyway, back to the love story when God intervened. In the fall of 1974, Susie broke her elbow. And for some reason, we were taking the same statistics class, and I sat next to her. And after class, I'd carry her books home, like a gentleman my mother taught me to do. And we would watch The Untouchables on WGN-TV. And Susie was. Although we may have held hands. So then it came to be spring break 1975 in Fort Lauderdale. That has enough stories to keep us here at least a day. 4 guys driving and sleeping in Bo's Pinto for 26 hours is enough of a start. The Button, the Steak and Brew, and the beach were the beginnings of Susie and Mark as a couple. On a whim, somebody said, let's drive to the Magic Kingdom. We camped outside the park and entered the kingdom to have a great trip going on all the rides we had seen on TV. Somewhere between the Matterhorn and the Jungle Cruise, I pledged my undying love to Suze. From that day forward, we were inseparable. We went to the Indianapolis 500 where Ho tried to see how much beer my belly button would hold. It was also the year of streaking, and I can still hear it. Susie laughed so hard it hurt when the Indiana State Police cornered a guy up the tree. Susie had a great laugh and a constant smile. Don't you know how much I am going to miss that, and I think all of you too. She met my parents on my 21st birthday, and our love was strong. After graduation, Susie worked at Kodak as a systems analyst, the only woman in the department. My grad school partner, Ruby, and I drove from Pittsburgh to Rochester to see Kosum and Susie many, many bad weather days. And on a snowy February of 1977, outside a steakhouse in Rochester, we proposed to each other and were married October 8, 1977, in Lewiston. All but one of the wedding party is here today. For the next part of the remembrance, I'm hearing another Beatles song that seemed horribly appropriate. You know it. Will you still need me? Will you still feed me when I'm 64? And how young is 64 now? I think the Beatles in 1967 thought that 64 was ancient, and I probably did too. But you know, all of you fed Susie in each of your special ways. And our family appreciates each and every one of you. And this tremendous collective grief on Susie's passing clearly demonstrates that we all still need Susie. For many years, my children have learned that faith, family, and friends are those precious metaphysical jewels to be mined and refined to a spectrum of love. They can be neither weighed or counted, but they are priceless. Some days our investment of time and tears and treasures in these jewels may not seem to be worth the effort. However, my friends, the Fowler family is comforted in the knowledge that we are family. Strong together through so many joys and even this harsh storm. The Fowler house was built on the rock that still stands. And our life together will go on through our friend's memory of Susie, our family's continuing love for Susie every day, and our faith in that creative, eternal source of love, looking for someone who needs a smile or a hug. So friends, I have like 5 pages about each and every one of you, and I appreciate that 2 of the speakers already covered a lot of the friends, but I would give a shout out to the first work group that we were friends with. Dean, the Bantas, the Millers, the Konigs. They were so special. And of course, you've already heard about the Woodchucks, and the quick story about the Woodchucks was in the July of '86, in order to reserve a picnic table at Greenwich Park, my best friend Bruce had to come up with an organization. And so he came up with the Purdue Woodchuck Society and told the people in the application we were the top 1% students graduating. So over 33 years, we've had more than 24 woodchuck picnics, and the next one, sadly, is in Purdue, Labor Day. We had hoped to be there. I'll be there. And it's the 100th anniversary of Harry's Bar, and Harry's Chocolate Shop, which is the campus bar. And my dad went to it in 1938 and 1939, and we all went to it in the mid-'70s. And we'll have a celebration for Susie, a special woodchuck celebration out there. One other story about work, when Susie left informatics, she went and worked for Grid Systems, and Grid Systems made the first portable laptop that was Tempest testing, and they were in the lead. And Susie was the account manager for the White House Communications Agency. And yes, one night we got that infamous 3 a.m. call that Hillary was waiting for. And it was, Susie, the printer isn't working and the salt nuclear talks are delayed. Can you fix it? Well, she fixed it, received a White House invitation, commendation, and a picture from President Reagan. You know, next were our best friends in town at that time, John and Holly Esposito, who introduced us to Rehoboth Beach and then to the surf club at Dewey Beach, Delaware, at the end of Reed Street. And that was our hotel at Dewey Beach. And we'll miss that. And more important, after John and Holly moved on, John had introduced me to Paul Smith, interestingly enough, another Smith family, and Paul and I became fast concert buddies and have probably seen over 200 concerts in the last 40 years. And his wife Janet and I went to Half Price Wine Night at Tower Oaks many Monday nights. For half price wine, chicken wings, shrimp, pizza, and of course, cheeseburgers. It was just so appropriate, Paul and Janet. I can't see you, but I hope you're there. There you are, yay! So appropriate that you were there. God had you there in time, on time. Our best friends to be there as she breathed her last. So we learned about the mothers, especially the mothers of twins, Carol Watson, Christy Miller, and Kim Wallach, who all had twins before Susie, and they helped her maintain her sanity and her sleep schedule, and I think white wine was involved. And of course, once our kids went to Spring Hill, our group of friends grew to be the Emanuel family, including their teachers, Nancy Stansberry and Mary Fisher, along with the Kitchell Morrisons, Stevens Palmers, Neals, Alcotts, And she was in Brownies and Girl Scouts with the Engels, Leaches, Speeds, McGregor, Ings, and Tompkins. But then in the late 1990s, we joined the Hamlet Swim Club. And oh my goodness gracious, that made all the difference for the fun we've had the last 20 years. All the young people at the swim meets, dance parties, and dive teams, and the Christmas parties, Super Bowl parties, and of course you ladies of the Hamlet that went out to the fire pit always made Susie feel welcome. And her last party at the Brants, Memorial Day, where many of you spoke with her. We shared the sidelines of basketball courts and soccer fields with the Gallaghers and the McGregors and the Hunts and the Sniveleys. And over the last 2.5 years, Susie and I had as much fun as we could with as many of you as we could because we knew our time was short. But we felt especially grateful we were able to travel to South Africa with Will and Peg Powers, and Ruby and Joseph Guyan. And we went to their winter home in Nysna. We went on safari, Cape Town, Stellenbosch Winery, food comas for 12 days. It was the trip of a lifetime, and Joseph and Ruby, yay! We love you so much. That was the most special time. You were the best hosts ever. And I hope you invite me back. So, you know, faith, family, friends, family is a garden of love blossoming in the faces of these young children. Eric, you have mom's patience and problem-solving skills. She was so proud when you told her how happy you are at work. And with your new friend, Aaron. Haley, you have mom's list making and organizational skills. She was so happy to imagine and plan your special day with Jeff and start working on all the details. And Anne, You had mom's math mind. She's a CPA. And her beautiful good looks. You are in her. She is in you. And I know that you lean on her the most, and I'm so sad she won't be there for you to talk about life, and I know I won't be able to. But we have Aunt Allison, who is so much more than an aunt. So that's your job, Aunt Allison, who happens to look a lot like her sister Susie. So here are 3 family stories that it's interesting to think about. After we joined the Hamlet Swim Club, we quickly found out that Eric was the same age as Garrett Stevens Palmer, Justin Neal, and George Lane Roberts. And they all swam year-round, and so it wasn't very nice to be in the 4th place lane all the time. And while Haley was one of the fastest backstrokers in Fairfax County, you can't socialize while swimming hours of laps. And who wants to swim hours of laps anyway? But at that time, the Hamlet dive team was pretty much defunct. And some wise person said, hey, you've got 2 gymnasts. And I understand that when Eric was only 3 years old, he was diving off the Tuckahoe 3-meter board. And I'll never forget, in fact, it may have been Mary Ann Prendergast who said it back then. But somebody said, isn't your son afraid of going off that high board? And I said, well, nobody's taught him to be afraid. Heads up, parents. I believe this fearlessness may be the strength that got you through all the adversity. And of course, Susie's first and best decision was hiring Jessica Williams, another Emmanuel member and a star diver. Glenn, you here? Ann and Haley were happy because in diving, you stand in line for 5 minutes and you dive for 5 seconds. Much more fun than swimming. And they recruited all their friends and all the boys that wanted to be with the girls. The Spees, the Ings, the Rileys, the Brants, Meyer, McHenry, Newland, Clemens, and the rest is history. 2005 Division 5 dive champs. Haley and Eric still hold pool records at the Hamlet. And in the meeting house, there is a poster that the team gave her at the victory party, and you'll see all the happy faces. And it turns out diving was so important to the identity of my children. Haley later became the dive coach for the Great Falls Rapids Club and was appreciated by all her young divers. Eric continued to dive for Langley High School, where he learned that ripping a 1.5 with a half twist is a great way to impress the girls. And I know because it worked for me. Another story was when Susie's mom and dad moved to Virginia 20 years ago to be closer to the grandchildren. As they declined in age, Susie's mom took care of her dad as he got Alzheimer's and declined and passed away at 90. And then Susie's mom clearly couldn't stay in the apartment she was in, and she moved with us. And Susie showed what a daughter does. But their mom is sick. And her dad is sick. She drove to all the doctors, paid all the bills, comforted her mom when she was confused, and patiently endured for years as her decline finally ended. And Susie's greatest wish was not to have Alzheimer's, so be careful what you wish for. Not to be a burden and always to put her children ahead of herself. And that's what mom does. Susie was the daughter that her parents needed, just as Ann and Haley were the daughters Susie needed in her last days. And wonderful artistic Ann Allison lived in Philadelphia until the last decade. She was always the riding the train down to visit her parents and our children. And as you recently heard in Pastor Aaron's sermon, family means nobody gets left behind, nobody's forgotten. So in the fall of 2016, Allison and her husband, Bob O'Malley, lived out this message of love when they agreed to sign Eric into the state of Colorado so he could move there. They fed and guided and loved Eric for more than a year as he got his bearings and found work that would put his IT knowledge to the test. Allison, you're so much more than an aunt. And Dean and Marge welcomed Eric to their mountain home in Boulder for many yummy Thanksgiving, Christmas, and birthday dinners. Marge is a cook like Betty. And they also hired Eric to to help around the house so we'd have some spending money. And Susie and I and Eric are ever grateful for your generosity and taking a chance on family. Thank you, both four of you. So finally, faith. These are the people and places that Susie could trust to find connection to her Creator, Sustainer, and Redeemer. These women gave Susie a friendly ear in all her joys and sorrows, spoken and unsaid. And I'm so thankful for all of you. The Mothers Network we heard about, but I would also give out a shout out for Sue and Caroline and Elizabeth and Helen and Pat and Ann. You shared your challenges on raising boys and girls in this highly stressful environment. Second was her time at Dolly Madison's Speech and Language Center, where she followed Kathy Neal as president of the board. It was special because Susie suggested that our constant talkers, Ann and Haley, could be peer models for the other children. And those years gave Susie the acknowledgement that she had the leadership, negotiation, and fundraising skills to do anything. Thank you, Miss Ann and Miss Madge, for the amazing work you've done all these years for thousands of children, including mine. And as a math major, Susie was a perfect bookkeeping volunteer. You heard it at the fun fair, but the real meaningful job that Susie Fowler had at Emmanuel Presbyterian Church was to sit by the side of Betsy Lasher, who collected all the bid sheets, did all the accounting, worked with Tom Hamilton and his computer and flunky program that he put together, and worked all night stuffing envelopes. And after the auction was over, people would call, how do we get in the dinner? And I do hope Betsy will find another person as good as Susie to help out in the auction. So there's a job opening here in Amanda. And then more recently, Susie launched a new young adults group called FOG, which is not fear of God, but rather fellowship of the great. Susie borrowed it from Dean and Marcus Church in Boulder, where you bring a bottle of wine and a heavy hors d'oeuvre. And Susie will be remembered for planting the seed and getting the glasses and getting the sign-up sheets for 2019. May the vine grow and bear the fruit of getting to know each other better. I know I'm a coffee hour person, and I know lots of people at coffee hour. But if you don't go to small groups and auction dinners and FOG, you'll never learn about who these people are that we sit next to in church. So Susie's favorite place to get closer to God was the beach. After all, she was Pisces, the fish. She adored the power of the sun, the constancy of the wave racket, as she called it. We always had to stay close enough where she could hear that racket out the window. The abundance of the sand, and of course, the peace of a great mystery novel. Susie's first beaches were in Clearwater and St. Pete's, where her grandmother lived and the Smith family visited. Then her parents moved to Venice, Florida, and we spent many hours watching our children play games with Granddaddy Stan and Nokomis and Venice beaches. But over the last decade, Susie and I were invited to Lockwood Garrett's house to find sanctuary and recharge. Thank you for all the wonderful gifts you gave us, all the meals, the golf, the birthday dinners, especially those two frisky dogs that jump up. Lucy and then finally is Dewey Beach, where the Fowler Five had their last beach vacation together at the end of June. I tried to send out an announcement with lots of pictures. I hope you've seen this picture of us at the beach. More than 40 years ago, the Espositos took us to the Delaware shore, where we discovered Grotto Pizza, fat crabs, breakfast at the Starboard, and the Surf Club Hotel at the end of Reed Street, which back in the day had a keg of beer and a popcorn machine in the lobby if you stayed there. They still have the popcorn machine. We took Eric there on his first Mother's Day and went in May and September most years. So the beach is the place where the fire of the sun meets the cool water of the ocean. Here is balance and harmony. And I do believe that's how Susie and I were held together. Susie will be remembered as the sun with her blonde hair and shining smile, the sand with her freckles, and the surf with her dependability. I loved you so much, Susie. You will always be in the sea breeze at the end of Reed Street. And the gates of heaven were wide open on July 10th for a wonderful daughter, sister, wife, mother, and friend, known as the Sues. Well, we don't have enough time for the minister, so